Lewis Hamilton. Daniel Ricciardo defends world champion with Sebastian Vettel jibe. Hamilton wrapped up his fifth world title with 2 races to spare at the Mexican Grand Prix last weekend. However, many drivers have claimed the Brit was able to emerge victorious because of the strength of his Mercedes car. But Ricciardo reckons Hamilton's personal driving ability gave him the edge over the rest of the field. The Australian, who is leaving Red Bull for Renault at the end of the season, also backed his own chances of winning a future title but praised Hamilton for his efforts this term. "My competitive side will always believe I'm the best and in that car I could do the same things, yada," he said. "But I definitely give him all the respect and it's definitely not to go at Lewis. I think he's been pretty awesome at being able to do what he's done continuously on track for the best part of a decade. But also done his own thing away from the track. For him to live the life he's living and still keep up such a performance, full credit to him." Sebastian Vettel's title challenge fell apart in the second half of the season. And Ricciardo reckons that was because he was not performing as well as Hamilton. Also this year people realize that, okay, you can have a fast car but you've got to be able to perform week in and week out, Ricciardo added. Seb's for the most part had a fast car all year, but when you're fighting for the title it's those little 1%ers that Lewis's has got on top of more often than him, and that's what really dictated the pace of this championship. I give Lewis full respect. I think the talent's always been there. The speed's always been there. Everyone knows that, but for him to maintain this level of intensity, this level of speed and commitment is pretty strong. I've certainly got no problem with applauding him on that. Related articles: Lewis Hamilton, Nico Rosberg claim made about Mercedes man's title success. That is the verdict of BBC's F1 pundit Gillian Palmer. The 33-year-old has enjoyed a superlative season and secured his 4th championship within the last 5 years in Mexico last weekend by finishing 4th, having needed only to come 7th to beat Sebastian Vettel to the crown. Mercedes team principal Toto Wolff even declared in Mexico, "This is the best Lewis I've seen in the last 6 years. He's driven better. He's been better out of the car. Very, very complete." The only time Hamilton has failed to win the championship in the past 5 seasons, he was beaten by Mercedes teammate Rosberg in 2016 by just 5 points. The German poured everything into downing Hamilton in an explosive year-long battle between the two Silver Arrows drivers. In fact, Rosberg was so physically and mentally drained by the pressure of their rivalry that he decided to retire as world champion just 5 days later at the young age of 31. And Palmer thinks that the strain on Rosberg should be taken into consideration when analyzing just how incredibly Hamilton has performed to rack up 5 titles, with Juan Manuel Fangio and Michael Schumacher the only other drivers to manage that tally. "The demands on an F1 driver are intense," the former Renault driver wrote in his. Firstly, to be physically super fit. Secondly, to immerse yourself within the team, and understand what are very complex cars inside out, the controls and procedures, which change every year. And on top of that, there is so much demand for a driver's time for PR activities and events. Particularly if you are Hamilton driving for a global brand like Mercedes. To judge the potential effects of these demands, you only have to look at Hamilton's former teammate Nico Rosberg. He was an excellent driver and he ran Hamilton fairly close while they were at Mercedes together. He won the title in 2016, but to do so he had to up his game that year to a level he had never reached before, shutting out almost everything else in his life. Rosberg achieved it, with help from some Hamilton reliability woes, and promptly retired. It was all too much. He had achieved his boyhood dream, but burnt himself out in the process, and he didn't have anything left in him to continue the fight. Rosberg's retirement speaks volumes about the skill of Hamilton, but also the resolve needed to keep going for that long and at that level of intensity. Having said that, Rosberg did probably have to put in slightly more effort than Hamilton, because Hamilton makes up extra performance with a pure natural ability that few in F1 history have ever possessed.